What is going on, gentlemen of the Fantasy Balls Fantasy Football League? Everybody going crazy. He's excited. My bad. Last week, not important. We're moving past it. We're gonna act like it never happened. We're doing week 9. I would have done this a little bit earlier, but Chumba decided to call and talk. So really, it's Chumba's fault, as it always is. If anything is true, it's always that it's Chumba's fault. So there was no game of the week last week. Might be. Shit happens. We moved past it though. Okay. We are going to jump into it. Since there was no game of the week, I'm going to start with Jake and myself, because I think it was a very, very close game. Again, Jake took me down. Pause. 138 to 131. Boy, was this one close. Oh, well, 7 points. Not that close. I have both Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. If you did not watch the Chiefs game on Monday night, in overtime, Travis Kelce got a little dump pass from Mahomes. Took it down, got stopped at the 2-yard line. They ran it in the next play for a touchdown to win the game. If Travis Kelce gets in there, I win this game. 2 yards was the difference. You hate to see it from me. Jake moves to 5-4. I move to 4-5. Things are starting to get a little more interesting with the records. It's been a very, very interesting year. So many close records. Starting to get a little bit of separation, but not really all that much. It's still very, very tight. Playoffs are wide open for everybody right now, except for probably Brochard. Gets his second win of the season, though, so maybe this is his comeback, right? Maybe he's going to start coming back. 141 to 137, taking down Cameron, the first place team in CTE, also at 4-5. Again, a lot of teams at 4-5. Brochard moves to 2-7, gets a W. Maybe this is Brochard's run. He's not out of it yet, technically, right? Let's see if it would load. He's got a 1% chance to make the playoffs, but he's not fully out of it yet. So we'll see. Brochard gets his second win of the season, continues to try and make a comeback, but nobody's out of it yet. Next, Joseph Brown gets the win, 145 over Chumba. CTE isn't real. Both teams move to 4-5. Like I said, still a lot of very, very close records. Spread out among all the divisions. Excuse me. Joe, doing well, first year in the league, doing all right. He's in third place of his division, 4-5, 145 points. It's a respectable game. You know, dude comes in, doesn't really know anything. Would have been an even bigger game. He had -1, 0, and 1.5 points from 3 different people. So could have had an even bigger game, but still comes away with the win here. Going forward, keep an eye on that, because if you're putting up 145 with people putting up less than 2 points, could be big. Could be big. Who knows? Anyway, Johnny Boy getting back into the win column. John's been having a rough couple of weeks. Didn't say anything last week. No, there was no recap. Didn't say anything last week. Johnny had 2 losses in a row. Went from 6-0 to 6-2. Moves now to 7-2. Remains in first place. John's having a season. 151 points. Surprised he hasn't been crying, right? Surprised. Didn't say anything. That's John's thing, you know. He's got a bitch about something. But he gets a win here. Moves to 7-2. Stays in first place. Still not clinched. Nobody's clinched a playoff spot. But he does have a 98% chance to make it. John's got the highest odds to make it. My nose is fucking itchy. What the fuck? Tyler falls. Again, another new guy. Also 4-5. So many 4-5 teams. Don't know what's going on. It's just like when everybody was 3-3 or whatever. Very, very tight league. I almost love it, right? It's going to be keeping things interesting. Brochard is really the only one that is like on the fringe, trying to come back. Most everybody else is right in the mix of it. A lot of people still there, still have a shot. And we'll get to that as we get closer to the end of the season. Week 14, I believe, is our last week. So we still have a couple of weeks to go. I think 5 more weeks. 5 more weeks. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 5. All right. Anyway, Eddie continues his fair dominance in our fantasy league. Eddie's strong baseball season continues that into the football season. Moving to 6-3, 130 points over Connor, the upstate New York Sox, only putting up 90 points. Really, really disappointing. And guess what? We got to see another one of those awful fucking chugs from Connor. Honestly, didn't even look like a chug to me. It's almost like he was just sipping. Even for me, Connor, that's embarrassing. I know I don't do it with alcohol, but I can chug better than that, bud. What are we doing? What are we doing, fat boy? I thought you could fit things in your mouth really easily and slide down your gullet. But maybe that's just a misunderstanding from your physical appearance. So, Connor owes another chug. Get it together, buddy. I love that he doesn't even watch these, so he doesn't get to see any of the fucking insults I throw at him. Connor only putting up 90, lowest scorer, owes another chug. He still has a winning record, though. Connor is one of those teams. He's sucked every year so far. Finally having a good season. Joshing on my Jacobs. Alec continuing his strong season. Again, Alec's been one of those middle-of-the-road teams. He's been bad a couple times. He's been average most of the time. Really starting to step it up. Also moves to 6-3. Same record as Edward. Takes down Andy, who goes to 3-6. Andy, who hurt his shoulder. Cry about it, bud. Figure it the fuck out. It's just a shoulder. We've all been there. You'll survive. So, come on, no excuses. Figure it out. Started Anthony Richardson, which is just tough luck. Not that it would have made a difference. Anthony Richardson would not have scored the 60 points necessary for him to win, but tough luck. So, looking forward into next week, we have some pretty decent matchups. Chumba and I are going head-to-head, both 4-5, both in the CTE division, head-to-head. Okay, another 4-5, Joe versus Tyler, in different divisions, both 4-5 though, both, one in third place, one in fourth place. We got 2 first place teams going up, Eddie versus John, 7-2, 6-3. Then we have an okay game, Connor versus Brochard, 5-4, 2-7, whatever. Joe's fifth grade water bottle, Cameron, 4-5 versus Andy, 3-7, and then Alec versus Jake, 6-3, 5-4. So a lot of good matchups this week. We got to go with the 2 first place teams though. Obviously, Eddie versus John, back in the spotlight. Feel like this game has happened already. Is what it is. John continues to lead the league in points scored, and great for him. However, John is falling a little bit in terms of defense, really struggling with defense. Andy is Andy is our worst defensive team. Got to figure out defensively, Andy, if you want to win anything. Eddie is our best defensive team, scoring or giving up the fewest points, and Brochard is our lowest scorer. Our 6 playoff teams right now: John, Jake, Alec, Connor, Cameron, Eddie, not in any order. That's just reading them down. So those are our 6 playoff teams. But like I said, a lot of teams at 4-5, a lot of teams still in the hunt. 4 teams missing the playoffs at 4-5. 1 team in the playoff at 4-5. Way too much can happen in these next 5 weeks to determine playoffs. So get your head in the game. Brochard technically still has a shot, even though it's a long one. We're all still in it, boys. Keep on grinding. We'll figure it the fuck out. That's a recap. I'll be better in the future. Rough week last week. We're getting back to it. All right?